Okay, so yeah, welcome back. In today's tutorial, I want to introduce you to one of the most popular programming languages in the world, but it's an old language. All right, so it's the C programming language. If you want to follow these tutorials, I recommend that you take note of this link right here, w3schools.com. I'm going to use this website as a guideline. And so, getting down to the language itself, C is a general-purpose programming language developed in 1972 by a guy called Dennis Ritchie. And it's still quite popular today. All right, so it's quite powerful and versatile in the sense that it has been used over the years to develop operating systems, databases, applications, etc. And so when it comes to operating systems, Windows earlier versions were developed in C. MySQL database, was developed in C, C++, of which C++ is just a hybrid of C. And then we have applications like Adobe Photoshop. Earlier versions were developed in C, and quite a number of applications that have been developed in C. C allows you to interact with the hardware of your computer, and so it kind of bridges between the high level and the low level languages. That's the good thing about the C language. All right, so I know if you're a beginner, obviously, if you see something like this line here and the curly braces, they're kind of intimidating. Yeah, it looks cryptic, but trust me, if you dedicate yourself, give yourself time, then in no time you'll find this quite intuitive. It becomes second nature to you. Why would you want to learn C? Well, it's one of the most popular programming languages. And then number two, it becomes quite easy for you to learn Java, Python, or C++ once you master C. And by the way, the first Python interpreter was developed in C, and so you see how powerful C is. It's quite fast compared to other programming languages because it's close to the hardware. The moment you understand C, then obviously other languages are going to be, I won't necessarily say a walk in the park, but they're going to be easy. To get started, we will need a text editor, and then we'll need a compiler. And so usually most IDEs, they ship with the C compiler. For instance, this one, the code blocks IDE, so you don't need to install the C compiler separately. The moment you install code blocks, then you are good to go. You can click on this and then you can download that. For Linux users or Mac users, you don't necessarily need this. You can use your terminal. If you're on a Windows computer, you need to go through the installation, follow these instructions. I'm sure, it's going to work. If you are on a Mac or Linux, or still on Windows, you can use what we call WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, which I'm going to be using over here. So I'm going to go to my terminal, and then here, and you can click on that to open it. And so we want to look for GCC, which is a compiler for C. So I can see GCC version. You can see I have it here. And so you can do the same. All right, so I'm going to clear this. Let me ls. You can actually create a directory here to keep your files. So I created one earlier, which is called the C tutorial. So I'm going to cd into C underscore tutorial. And so this is where we're going to write our files in. We can use a text editor called VI or Vim. We're going to write our first program, so I'm going to use that as guideline. This one is a guideline, and so let's look at the syntax part here. All right, so we're going to write this program here. I can use VI or Vim. It's the same. Our program, our prog. You can name this whatever you want. .c. Obviously, you need to put that .c extension because we're writing a C program. So once I do that, you can see now I am inside Vim, which is a text editor. Right, so I can press I on my keyboard to insert text, and I'm going to write hash include and then standard io.h. For now, I just want you guys to follow what I'm doing. Of course, this is cryptic, but we're going to explain what this means. All right, so I'm going to say int main, and then parentheses, and then I'll put these curly brackets right here. We're going to return 0. That's what we do in C programs. And then we always terminate our statements in C with a semicolon. So that's why I'm putting a semicolon here. And then for us to print something, we use a function called printf. This is a function. And so this is the reason why we need this line here. This is what we call a header file. So let me use this. So the hash include h is a header file library. It lets us work with input and output functions such as printf. So we have to use the hash include so that our file knows where to find this particular function, and that's why we have to include that. So we are including a header called standard io, which is the header which contains this particular function. We can then use double quotation marks, hello, comma, world, exclamation mark. We need to /n to create a new line. So line 1, we said we have include standard io, which is a header file. Line number 2, it happens to be a blank line. We use it to make the code more readable. This main function will always appear in every C program. This happens to be the entry point and the exit point of your program. So you will need a main function. This is the return value, and here we are returning 0. 0 means your program has been successful. Any number other than 0, it means your program has failed. So you might want to check that. And then the printf is a function used in the output or print text to the screen. So here our printf is a function that we are getting from this header file, which we use to print something out to the screen. And then the semicolon, every C statement ends with a semicolon. That's it. And then there's something to note here. The body of the int main could also have been written as in one line, but we just want to make sure that our code is organized and readable. We could have written all this in one line. It's still going to make sense to the compiler, because the compiler ignores any white space that you're seeing here. But for readability, we need to make sure that our code is organized. And then return 0 ends the main function. And then we need to close this with a curly bracket, opening curly and closing curly bracket. Return 0 means our function is going to return some kind of a value, some kind of a signal to us to say, okay, whatever you wanted was successful or it was not successful. This is why we need this return value. All right, so after having done this, we can safely exit this, and then ls again. Now we have our prog.c right here. For us to run our program, we need to compile it first. So how do we compile? We use that GCC compiler. So we can say GCC and then the name of our file, our prog.c. Once you press enter, you will see something here. You will see an assembler.output. It's the default name that is given to your output file, to your compiled file. Like C is a compiled language. Whatever we wrote is going to be translated or compiled into some instruction that the computer understands. So if we are to check what is inside a.out, it's some kind of gibberish. Let's see. You see this. So for us to run our program, we just use /, which means the dot means the current directory. There's a file called a.out. And if we run that, you can see down here it says hello world. It prints out that statement which was inside our prog.c. All right, so congratulations, you have run your first C program. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove a.out, ls again. You can see now we're back to our own program. Let's say we want to compile it with a different name. We can compile this with a different name. We can say prog.c. We can dash output it as just prog. If I ls now, because we specified this flag here, GCC, our program, compile our program, and then output it as prog. So we have this prog. So if we run this prog again, this is how we run our files, and then we can see we have the same output like a.out. And so if you want to specify the name of the output file, you can use the -o flag, which belongs to the GCC. If you want to learn more about the GCC, you can man GCC here. Man is short for manual. So these are the manual pages for the GCC compiler. So you can then press enter and you can get into this window here, which is the manual. So GN new project C and C++ compiler. You can then check it out. There's quite a lot that you can do with this compiler. So to quit, I'm gonna press Q, and yeah, you can learn more from that. All right, so yeah, basically that's it. I'll see you in our next tutorial. For now, I'm out. Bye bye.